Hello, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. Welcome to Books of the Month. So glad that you could join us for another powerful and exciting episode. And as always, we share some very powerful information as we have guests who have written some fascinating books. We have a special guest with us. David, how are you today?
Better than I deserve. How about you, Larry?
Oh, I'm doing great, David. It's good to have you back with us again. I want you to do this for us. Briefly introduce yourself to our viewing audience. Tell them a little bit about who David really is. Look right there and introduce yourself.
I'm David Jenkins. Been writing books since 2015 from the Father. He's been teaching me hands-on, hardcore, one-on-one training, having me live through Bible experiences to be able to bring an understanding of who our Father is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing.
That's good. Now, before, David, we were talking about these awesome books that you've written, and we were talking about Precept 8. Now, again, I am the firstborn. I am the first
To rise
from the dead. You talk about yourself and the experience that you've had with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. You talked about the hook in the jaw, how you met someone there in the Philippines. That person became a spiritual and emotional support. You also talk about at one time you just wanted to throw in the towel and stop. Then you talk about the journey and the personal experiences that you've had with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit as he's been giving you this revelation. That's so very powerful. Now, there's something that I see here. Going through life with one another. Powerful concept. What do you mean? What was revealed to you when you wrote that?
All right. Well, we're all part of the one Son of God. When we're driving down the road, in the 6th book, there's a chapter called Hearing the Father's Voice.
What is the 6th book?
The 6th book is declaring the end from the beginning.
Okay.
And, and that's where I was telling you last time. We was talking about how if you don't understand that the book of Revelation is how a lot of this began, not how it's going to end. And this is one of the ways our Father has hid this from the wise and the prudent. I am the foolishness of the, that he's using. I only got a 9th grade education. Mm-hmm. I wasn't called to the Bible until 2011. And today I am profoundly sure that I could show people that they've never seen or heard, even though you've been studying the Bible all your life. I can show people anything they want to know.
From revelation that you received.
Yep. And so the book of Revelation is how a lot of this began. Like I said, Revelation 17, that's our mother. The mother of the abominations of the whole earth. That's our mother. So we got to be able to understand that everybody's part of the one Son of God. We were all in the Garden of Eden at one time. You go to Genesis 5, people look at this as Adam and Eve. 2 people began this. No, but when you go to Genesis 5, God created male and female and called them Adam. Everybody was Adam in the beginning. We got cast out of heaven because we thought we could obtain our Father's perfection by doing things differently than his instructions. He cast us out.
Okay.
The beast. We are the beast. So when the Father...
So you're saying God has revealed this stuff to you when you're having this intimate things with him.
Yep.
And so this is stuff that you're getting as you're having your personal and intimate walk.
Yep.
Your interpretation of what God is saying to you.
Yep.
Okay. So now going through life with one another, you said that because we're all one. You've written that in the book.
Yep.
Number 6, you said?
Oh, that's more than number 6. That's the number 2, and I mean, it just gets more profound.
So it's a continual, it's progressive.
Yeah, you get into a deeper understanding through each book.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Then you go to going through life with God the Father. I noticed the progression, how you do. You go going through life with one another, going through life with God the Father. And from there, you say going through life with Jesus. Talk us to that progression where you say going through life with God the Father and then going through life with Jesus. What have you done in the book? What can people glean and receive from that?
All right. Well, Going through life with God the Father, how many people refuse to go through life with God the Father because they refuse to eat the Old Testament. They refuse to seek his perfect instructions in the Old Testament. How can you go through life with him without listening to what he's trying to say? I'm not trying to pick on you or anything, but I'm going to assume you and your wife have been together for a long time. In order to go through life together, you have to know about each other. You have to learn each other. When you first got together, you all didn't know anything about each other, but something drew you all together. Then you found something that kept you together, and then through life, you still continue to experience life together to be able to do everything as one. You all take care of your house together. You take care of your children together. You pay your bills as one. You do it all as one. Well, how can you do this with the Father if you don't want to learn about what he's been trying to say? How
Okay.
can you become one with the Father?
So you're talking about what I'm hearing you communicating is that there has to be an intimacy of the relationship outside of what people would identify as say intimate. You're talking about a spiritual intimacy,
Yes.
an emotional and psychological intimacy where there's a convergence.
Yep.
Coming together, you get to know each other, you communicate with each other.
Yep.
Okay. So you're saying, and you're saying in the same context, there must be a convergence or a spiritual intimacy that we have with God the Father.
Right.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So that's powerful. Now, you have this chronicled in your book. What was that like? When our readers go and get the book, what is that like, and what are they going to get from that journey that you chronicled?
They're going to get an understanding of the Father, because I take the King James Bible and I simplify it. Like I said, I've only got a 9th grade education, so I don't use big fancy words. You're going to have to stop and go to some dictionary or whatever and look things up, because I don't know. I don't know how to use these big fancy words. I speak a plain, simple English because I don't got a great education. I've got a 9th grade education. I mean, I got my GED. I didn't finish the 10th grade. The last full grade I completed was the 9th grade. So that, I always say this 9th grade education because that's what I got my GED off of.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't use big fancy words. I don't make things complicated. I just simplify everything.
You mentioned earlier when you were here as our guest, you talked about the foolish things, and you referred to yourself in comparison that God would choose the foolish things to confound the wise. And you talked about yourself being, okay, it may seem foolish that God is using me to lay out some things and to chronicle these things that you've written in the book. So going through life with one another, going through life with God the Father, now you say going through life with Jesus.
Okay. Yeah.
Talk to us
All
about
right.
that.
I'm a truck driver. I go from the east to the west all the time. When I'm traveling down the road, I have to realize that it took everybody to build the roads somewhere or another. All these people had to build the roads that I'm driving on. It took several people to build, thousands of people to build the truck that I'm driving. It took several people to build the signs. Your houses, your stores, your gas stations, your truck stops. It took thousands of people. Everybody driving on the road is Jesus. You carry the same spiritual cross I carry right here. We all carry the same cross. It's not made with hands. Any wooden metal cross, that is a graven image. That's not what God wants. He wants us to look at the cross that everyone carries. You carry the same cross. I don't care who you are. Someone has told you, or at least thought of you being wrong just for being who you are. That ain't love.
When you say everyone carries that spiritual cross, is there a prerequisite for to have a spiritual intimacy with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit in order to, that you say, carry that spiritual cross?
No,
Is that laid out in the book? So how does that take place?
you're born with it. You're born with that cross. Right here. Your head down to your belly button, your left arm to your right arm. Right there.
And you were talking earlier because all are created in the image and likeness of God. So you're saying because all humanity is created, so that's what you lay out in the book.
Yeah, that you carry your cross, and everybody is walking here suffering, and you're being crucified by people all day long. Somewhere, people are crucifying you. They're not, they're just, you can't do that. When you're going through life with Jesus, when you're driving down the road, this person that cuts you off, are you going to get mad at this person? Or are you going to say, hey, Father, what are you trying to tell me? Because they are a vessel of God. They are a servant of God. Everybody's a servant. Everybody's a vessel. So he is driving down the road. Jesus. Everybody's Jesus. Everybody is. So
And when you say everybody's Jesus, you mean everybody they're part of the body?
yeah. So, but when I look at you, you bleed the same blood I breathe. You breathe the same air I breathe. We walk on the same ground. I may walk on the ground in a different part of the world, but I still walk on the same ground. And going through life with Jesus is looking at everybody, looking at that cross they carry, and saying, hey, how would I want them to do unto me if I was in their situation, and acting accordingly? Matthew 7:12.
So when you're going through life with Jesus, okay, you're looking at people, everyone else, and saying, how would I want them to treat me? And am I treating them the same way that I want them to treat me?
Yep.
And so you write about that. You chronicle that in the book.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So now, what do our readers glean from that? Because you're talking about that personal experience, that progressive experience, and it's going to take growth. It's going to take spiritual maturity. How long did it take you to come to this, to where you could write those books?
I started writing about that in the second book. I mean, the second book was published in October of 2018. I started showing that
2018.
Yeah. I started showing that everybody is part of the one Son of God. I seen it.
Okay.
But now, we're talking about living in Satan's kingdom, and I kind of want to back up on that, because I wanted to talk about how God the Father dwells in everyone. We were all cast here because we all decided we was going to seek perfection by doing things differently than listening to our Father's perfect instructions. This is where it's going to catch a lot of people off guard.
Couple of minutes. God the Father, everyone cast, fallen nature, fallen state. That includes from a spiritual perspective.
Yep.
And so that's powerful, because you're going to take us on a navigational journey to get us back to where we need to do. So as the readers read your books, you're going to carry them on a navigational journey to get them back to the place where they're going to be in right standing with God.
Yep.
Progressive. And you laid that out for them.
Yep.
Okay, hold on to that thought. We're gonna take a break and hear from our sponsors. I want you to hold on to that thought. Don't go anyplace. We're gonna take a short break, hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Do you feel safe when you're at home? Do you ever worry about theft, someone breaking into your home while you're away, or worse? When it comes to making your home secure, don't trust this job to just anyone. When it's your home or your business, you need to make sure that you're dealing with a home security service that has the knowledge and experience to install the right security system for your needs, quickly and effectively. We would love to help you. You deserve a security service that is professional, polite, punctual, and effective. One that is committed towards saving you time and money and protecting your home from intrusion. We will assess your home security needs quickly, tell you the cost, and get the job done right. We take a great deal of pride in our work and would love to provide you with a free estimate and review of your options. Contact us today. You can reach us by following the directions on this page. We look forward to hearing from you.
For more information, call 855-794-7966.
Welcome back, David. Now, we're talking about some things here, progression, leading up, getting ready to cross this finish line. There are some things that you wanted to share that's going to help our viewing audience understand what you laid out as you chronicled and written these books. Come on, talk to us about that. Where do you want the viewing audience to go? Where do you want them to know about the books?
I want them to understand that, okay, we're living in Satan's kingdom, Satan's world. This is a chapter in the 8th book. Well, we started talking about this in the 3rd book. I didn't come to the complete realization until the 7th book, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay, but God breathed life into us. We all came here, the dragon, the serpent, the devil, okay? We were the tail drawn about a third of the stars. Those are the mansions in my Father's house, okay? That's where we came from. 95% of the human body is made up of the same composition of the stars. That's talked about in the 7th book, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay, but now this is where it gets tricky. And then you got to start listening to when all the times God the Father said, he's talking about how he despises how people listen to their imagination and not him. Our imagination is the serpent. Genesis 3, many people think the serpent is a snake or something like that. Later on in Genesis 3, God says, on thy belly thou shalt go. But in the very beginning of Genesis 3, God says the serpent was more beguiled or more subtle than any creature. It's not a creature. It's our imagination.
Okay.
And our imagination is what causes us to go seek God's instructions in other places other than the King James Bible. It's our imagination. So we have to discern whether we're listening to our imagination or if we're listening to our Father. Our Father's voice is our conscience. The serpent's voice is our imagination. And we got to discern between which one we're listening to. And like I said, I started illustrating this in the third book, showing that Satan's locked up inside of us. I couldn't get the complete grasp of it, but I had to keep seeking the Father through the King James Bible. I've listened to the King James Bible well over 100 times. That's all I do. When I get back in my truck, start driving, I'll be listening to the Bible all day long. I go from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22. I start back over in Genesis 1. I just listen to it over and over and over. And that's what I do. And each time he keeps showing me more and more in depth. So, but I wanted to show everybody that it's our imagination. And the only way, like I said, these books, the only way, if we got to stop listening to our imagination and start listening to the Father, start hearkening to his voice, because that's what he wants everyone to do.
How do you do that? Stop listening to them. So now, as you're speaking, there's a voice of the flesh, there's a voice of the spirit. You're saying that the voice of the flesh is the voice of our imagination. How do you make that switch to stop as you chronicle? How are you suggesting to the readers in your books that they make that transition?
By seeking our Father's perfection. Now, as you can see, Israel just attacked Iran just a short while ago, a few days ago. These are wars and rumors of wars indicating the beginning of sorrows. It's getting ready to get a whole lot worse. That's part of why we're doing this interview today. Okay? But now these books, because people don't have time to spend the next 15 years doing everything I've done with the Father, learning everything that I've learned, these books it's a shortcut. Y'all get a shortcut. Y'all can actually take these books, you can read them or listen to them. I'm going to be giving that information out here in a minute. Okay? And then you can get a lot quicker understanding. This took me years. I had to physically go through these lessons with him.
Okay.
In order to be able to understand this the way I understand it. I couldn't, I didn't venture off into different Bibles. I refused to. In the first book, I actually used one Bible sample from, I don't remember which one it was, but I used something from a different Bible, and the Father said, no, go back to the King James Bible.
So you stuck strictly with the King James Version.
That's it.
Now, the great burning, I see that. And then you say the conclusion is that it's teamwork.
Yep.
Talk to us about the great burning and then bring us down to that conclusion.
Well, the great burning, every health problem. Well, we're in hell now. We're walking through spiritual fire. John 4:23 and 24, the hour shall come, and now is that all true worshipers of God shall worship God in spirit. God is a spirit, and he seeks those that worship him. They must worship him in spirit and truth. We're walking through spiritual fire. The pain, anytime you feel anything other than perfect, because in heaven, everything's perfect. Okay? Anytime you feel anything other than perfect, you're walking through some kind of spiritual flame. It burns inside. We're told that everybody must be salted. Jesus said everybody must be salted. Well, what happens when you put salt on an open wound? It burns.
It burns.
We're walking through that spiritual fire. And that spiritual fire, the further away from perfect, and when you get mad, when you get upset, when you get sad, those are fires. And he's the only one that can bring peace to between bring that flame
So
down.
you're connecting the emotional things and transitions to emotional fires and things that impact.
It's a spiritual fire.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a spiritual fire. We got to be able to seek his righteousness so he can calm the flame. He can tame the flame so the burning isn't so much, and he kind of calms that burning away.
Okay, so he calms the burning away, and then there's going to come, the conclusion is that it's teamwork.
It's teamwork. We're in this together. You want to be in this with the Father, have his protection, or you want to keep listening to your imagination and try to do it without his
What
protection?
does it take that you chronicled in your books and you're helping the readers to understand? What does it take to get to that place where you understand, okay, I'm a part of the team? What have you written in the books to do that? And look right there and tell someone what it takes.
I get an understanding of the Father. Anybody that does not have an understanding of the Father will remain in the congregation of dead. That's talked about in the book of Proverbs and a few other spots in the Bible. These books give everybody an understanding of our Father, who he is, what he's doing, and why he's doing what he's doing. And hopefully you come into agreement with him, because once we come into agreement with him and start to understand how peaceful, how joyful, and how loving our Father is toward all of us, we'll understand what he's doing. That's when the Father will take you by the hand and start showing you how this all works. And it's so simple when we just start listening to the Father and not what man has to say about it.
Having a voice to hear God's voice, being able to recognize and discern God's voice from the voice of someone else who's giving information that doesn't line up with what God is saying.
Right. That's how you determine whether or not it's your imagination or if it's the Father's Spirit, that Father's voice that you're listening to. If it doesn't line up with the scriptures, you're listening to your imagination. If you're venturing off into all these other books, I give an example of this. I'm here showing everybody I'm Jesus. I'm the one he's right now. I got to show that Jesus wasn't here in the past. This is the biggest secret of all of them. This is in the 8th book. The King James Bible is not a history book. It's our lesson book. It's literally for our lives. Hebrews 9:26, for often he must suffer since the foundation of the world. Now, I've been explaining how everybody's part of the one Son of God. It says, for often he must suffer since the foundation of the world. But once in the end of the world has he appeared, put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. Once in the end of the world. If I was here 2,000 years ago, this world wouldn't be here today. I'm here now because we're at the end of the world.
Okay.
I walked out into the wilderness March 28th, 1986. I had a car accident. I was at Good Friday, March 28th, 1986. I was in a coma for 3 days and 3 nights. I had a car accident that caused me to be in a coma. In Luke 3, it says Jesus was about 30 years old when he was baptized. Excuse me. Okay. March 8th, 2016, I walked out into the wilderness after giving everything I owned away. At that time, I walked out there thinking I was going to physically die. I was going up there at that time. I didn't understand it like I do now. I thought I was going to go up and work with God and the Father and Jesus, because that was my level of knowledge at that time. That was my sacrifice in my life.
Okay.
I sacrificed. Now I come to the world. I give everybody an understanding of who our Father is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. But I can honestly say, if people don't read these books, they will not get an understanding of the Father, and they will die in their sins. You do not believe I am he, that's it. This war that just started out, I thought it was going to wait until after this interview happened. I thought the war wasn't going to, Israel wasn't going to get really big between Israel and Iran.
Okay.
I didn't think it was going to happen until after this interview. Kind of took me by surprise, and I was telling the Father, I was like, man, I thought this was going to happen afterwards. Well, I guess not. So, and I don't know how long it's going to take for this to air, but this is what this is all about. He's showing everyone, I'm here now. These books, if you want to understand who he is, read these books. So that's the main message. This is the way you follow me. You follow Jesus. You can't physically follow me. I have nowhere to lay my head. I don't have a home. I live in my semi-truck. I go from the east to the west, just as the scriptures say. The scripture says, when the Son of Man be revealed, he'll be as the lightning of the sky, going from the east to the west. That's me. That's what I do. I've been doing this for years. I've been driving truck for 34 years. I drive back and forth from the east to the west. I don't physically stay anywhere, so nobody can physically follow me. The only way people can follow me is read the books. I take you through the journeys that he's taken me through. And through the journeys I've been through, these books give you an understanding of the Father, who he is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. I've made mistakes in some of them, but as the Father tells me, because that's what, Romans 15:4.
We got 2 minutes.
Okay.
And so what we need to do here with those 2 minutes, I need you to disseminate any contact information. Give out any contact information. If it's email address, if it's website, where people can go and get the books. I want you to look right there and give that information out.
All right. Books are available in all major bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and my website. My website is davidofpsalm89.com. As you see it, they're doing some modification to it right now, so there might be a few glitches in it when you go to it, but when you scroll down to the bottom of it, you will see the books. The 8th book's not on the eighth book is not on there yet. The 8th book will be on there soon, but you will see down there where there's a spot you can download the manuscript to each and every one of these books free of charge. You can convert the manuscripts once it's downloaded, convert it to Word, and you can actually listen to the book. You get a free audiobook. I do not charge for these books. Nobody should feel like they have to or feel obligated that they should have to pay to learn of our perfect Father.
Okay. Yeah, so wow, that's powerful. So give that website information again.
davidofpsalm89.com, because I am David of Psalm.
And that's going to be at the bottom of the screen where people can get that information. So David, we want to thank you so much for coming on and being our guest, man. Lots of information that you chronicle, lots of time that you've invested and poured your life into writing these books.
And I don't know if there's going to be another one. The way he had me explain it in the 8th book, this will be the last one before I'm revealed.
Okay.
After I'm revealed, there might be another one. That's up to him, not me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. This has been Books of the Month. And as always, we want you to receive the optimum blessing and always outlove, outserve, outforgive each other. Don't forget to join us again right here next month for Books of the Month.